Hey friends, welcome to my New Year's Revolutions in Math and Science series. And today I'm going to be talking about a perception or a paradigm shift that many of us have as far as observing the sun throughout the course of a day from our planet. And even though this seems really obvious, it's something that I've gotten my head around recently, and maybe you guys will find it enlightening as well. So, standing on the northern hemisphere here, I'm going to draw a little figure of a person, and looking at a beautiful morning sunrise at, say, 6:30 a.m. here in the winter, facing the sun. Now, throughout the course of a day, it appears that the sun moves across the sky like this, and at about 3 p.m., if we're an observer in the same spot, it looks as though the sun has moved across the sky and it's, quote, setting in the west. That is not true, and intellectually, I know that, as well as some of you may know that. But doesn't it seem that the sun is moving across the sky? Well, it's not. The sun's not going anywhere. Well, actually, the sun does orbit the Milky Way galaxy on the order of 230 million years for a complete orbit. So, ostensibly, we don't notice the orbit of the sun around our Milky Way galaxy, but we sure do notice morning, afternoon, and sunset as far as the apparent movement of the sun, when in fact it's us that's moving, of course, on our axis. And standing outside, it's a fun experiment to do this by yourself as you're observing the sun. Which direction are we rotating where the sun apparently is here in the late afternoon sunset, but when in fact we know it hasn't gone anywhere? So which direction would you think that the Earth is rotating? You can pause this video if you want to think about it. After you've thought about it for a few minutes, you might think that if we're rotating around our axis in this direction, then the sun would still be to our left, as it were. So in fact, to see the sun at 3 p.m. when it appears that it's in a westward direction means that we have been rotating this way on the axis, which is indeed correct because the Earth rotates counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. I'm going to write that down. And the Earth also rotates or orbits the sun in the same counterclockwise direction. Also counterclockwise direction. So we orbit on the axis, or we rotate on the axis and orbit around the sun, both in a counterclockwise direction. I implore you guys to do this, to go outside and think this during a morning and then go back to the same spot in the afternoon and visualize how our wonderful Earth has rotated on its axis throughout the course of the day to give that perception that the sun's been moving across the sky. Please post your comments below. I look forward to reading them, as well as any cool paradigm shifts or things we might take for granted on a daily basis, but are really fun to think about. That's a big direction of where I want to go this year on the channel. You guys, thanks for tuning in, and stay warm.